This week on Kentucky Afield, the fastest animal in the world can be found right here in the Bluegrass State, but they've certainly had their challenges. We're checking in to see how they're doing.
Usually isn't a problem to get their mouth open to do this swab.
Next, with the heat that we're experiencing, creek fishing is the way to go, and we're doing just that.
There he is. Got him now? I think so.
Oh, that's not a bad fish.
Then, archery season is just over 2 months away, but we're looking forward to it right now. It's all next on Kentucky Afield.
Such a pretty fish.
Beautiful.
This pond is plumb loaded with frogs.
They're everywhere in here. Yeah, this is a good fish right here. Really good fish.
Come here, girl.
Yeah, boy. That's a big rabbit.
Nice job. Yes! Yes! My first muskie. Mercy Leo!
Yeah, look at it. It's a keeper.
There it goes. Boom.
Wow, that happened fast. Hello, and welcome to Kentucky Afield. I'm your host, Chad Miles. Join us as we journey the Commonwealth in search of outdoor adventure. What is the fastest bird on the planet? Well, it happens to reside right here in Kentucky. Now let's catch up with biologists from the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife and learn more about the Peregrine Falcon.
Peregrine Falcon is, I'm gonna go with the fastest animal in North America. It can dive at speeds of well over 200 miles an hour. They are bird eaters. They're like streamlined jet fighters. Peregrine falcons eat birds, and so they are extremely fast flyers so that they can catch their prey on the wing. They like to live at these power generating facilities because there's a lot of pigeons and starlings here, and oftentimes they're welcomed here because the utility companies like to see pigeons and starlings knocked back a little bit. Their wingspan is 3 feet or so. Not a real large bird, but they can have a large personality that makes them seem bigger than they actually are.
If you go back far enough, peregrine falcons were essentially extinct in Kentucky. And the last known peregrine falcon nest was found in 1939, I believe. And then until the 1990s, they were functionally extinct in Kentucky.
The decline was really for a lot of reasons. Habitat loss is always an issue, but we were also still seeing the effects of the insecticide DDT that had been used and caused their eggshells to thin. And for birds that only reproduce one time a year, it's pretty catastrophic if your nest fails. And in Kentucky, we didn't have a nesting pair much after the 1940s.
In the 80s, all the way up until the early 2000s, there was an effort to reintroduce the species to Kentucky called hacking. This is where you would take chicks and raise them in captivity and then release them as subadults into the wild, just hoping that they would nest somewhere throughout the state. The first actual nesting pair was in 1997 in Louisville. There was a bridge here that they laid eggs on. And then from there, they kind of just exploded back throughout the state.
And that recovery is mostly attributable to the companies that help support these nesting boxes that the birds are using.
LG&E was one of the earliest kind of partners with Kentucky Fish and Wildlife to reestablish them in Kentucky. This was a really early nest box. It was installed in 2004, I believe. They moved in shortly after it was installed, and then they laid their first eggs and had a successful clutch in 2006.
It's been so interesting to watch over the years. Each nesting season is incredibly different. The falcon that's currently nesting at Mill Creek, based on her markings and her colorings, our employees and the KDFWR avian biologist have tracked her since 2006. An employee affectionately named her Diana after the goddess of the hunt. Since then, she's been Diana all through these years. As a mom myself, it is so interesting to see some of the habits and the activities, whether it's protecting the eggs or going out and getting food, watching the chicks sort of compete for her attention. Those are just things that, for me personally, I relate to as a mother myself.
the backup to help this banding process go smoothly for the chicks. Both the male and the female, especially the female, is going to be really, really protective. So the team that we have here on the roof is essentially bait. We're to serve as a distraction to get the female out of the box. And what that will do is allow the team that has gone up into the stack to insert a really thin barrier between the opening of the box and the inside of the stack. And that way it excludes mom and dad for the short time that the biologists will be in there and banding the chicks.
Nicely done.
We'll open up the box, we'll pull the chicks out, we put them in a little cardboard box that has cubbies in it, and then that just keeps them from getting too close to each other or hurting themselves accidentally. Oh, you're the cute one, aren't you?
We had to come during a certain time window because we have just about 5 days when the chicks are an appropriate age for us to band them. All right, maybe one male, one female?
Yep.
Their bone structure is just about full grown at this age, but they're gonna grow a lot of muscles and feathers before they learn to fly about 2 weeks from now. She's on to us now.
Yep, I'd say so.
Right now, let's see, right now mom is sitting on the landing pad and dad is circling around. Thankfully the biologists work really quickly as make sure they minimize the stress to the adults, but they'll probably take turns switching off on the perch and just keeping an eye on things until they can open it back up.
Gloves for getting them out?
I probably would if I were you. They bite pretty hard at this age.
We'll pull them out individually. One of us will hold them. The other person will attach leg bands to both legs.
We cover their faces just to keep them nice and calm through the process. This one looks big, like it's probably a female. Females are bigger than the males. They have bigger feet, bigger legs. They also have a lower pitched voice. Yeah, definitely a female. We put a band on each leg. One of them is the same type of band that you'll see on Canada geese, around your neighborhood. It's got a 9-digit number on it. That number is unique for all birds banded nationwide.
All across the United States, people are looking for these leg bands, and they report them to a national database, essentially. And then they let us know when our birds are resighted, so we know that they're living. We can keep track of how many young they're producing as well.
Band locks on their legs, so they can't take it off.
And this way, we can really keep a close eye on the population. We know what survivorship's going to look like for individuals. If we have all of our banded birds that just aren't being resighted, we know that they probably aren't making it.
The other one is a color band that differentiates the birds when we look at them in a spotting scope. It's got a number and a letter on it in different colors, so that allows us to just see the bird or take a picture of the bird and tell that it's different from another bird.
These birds will move around. I mean, they won't necessarily stay in Kentucky. In fact, we've had birds go throughout the Midwest. It's interesting to find out if a bird shows up somewhere else and they can read the band number. We find out, oh, that's one of ours. That came from Kentucky.
We also test them for a disease that's kind of prevalent in Kentucky called trichomonas. They get it from the pigeons that they eat, and it causes a really bad inflamed throat. We test them for it because if they have it, we can treat them for it in the nest, and like to do everything we can to enhance their survival. Usually isn't a problem to get their mouth open to do this swab. It's just like a strep throat swab. All right, this bird is done.
Since 1999, more than 170 falcons have been banded from the nest boxes managed by KDFWR at our generating stations.
So these birds are 25 days old. They hatched from an egg 25 days ago. They'll start flying about 2 weeks from now. So these brown feathers that are growing out from under the downy plumage are going to be what they look like when they're ready to fly. Boy, that one's considerably less chill than the last one.
When I started with Peregrine Falcon restoration, there were no nesting pairs. There was also no digital cameras and no internet. So what we had to do was largely by watching through binoculars or spotting scopes and trying to learn what we can. Now the technology is much better, but the Mill Creek Falcon Cam has brought falcon biology is something that anybody can watch. I mean, they can watch when the first eggs are laid, try to figure out when the first eggs are hatched, get to see the growth of the chicks, get to see what mom and dad are bringing in to feed the chicks. It is so fun. Even if you're not a bird watcher, this is something that's super entertaining. And it's helped us get some really valuable information on when nest timing happens in Kentucky and what they're being fed.
Our employees are so dedicated to providing a safe space for the Peregrine Falcons at our generating stations where we have nest box installed. And they really just enjoy being a part of this experience at our generating stations.
All right, so he's gonna lose all his white downy feathers over the next couple weeks, and he'll be flying. He'll be brown instead of gray, and like his parents are, and then he'll gradually turn gray over his first year.
It's not uncommon to have eggs that don't hatch. We'll have several each year throughout the state. What we do is we collect them and then we freeze them. We'll either send them to the Afield Museum in Chicago or the Cincinnati Natural History Museum, and they add those to their reference collections so that researchers can go look at those as references, whatever project they're working on.
We're very grateful to receive funding each year from LG&E and KU that goes directly to our Peregrine Falcon activities, helps buy us equipment, and helps pay for our technicians' time to do this work.
We launched the Falcon webcam with KDFWR in 2013, and what really started as a unique project has grown into an award-winning initiative.
Oh, they just opened the box.
Oh, they
just
did?
opened. Yep. Oh, look at them.
All is well.
All is well.
With environmental stewardship and empowering education being such a key focus for us, we really saw over time this was such an incredible opportunity, because we've heard over the years, for instance, that teachers are tuning in to the webcam during the nesting season in their classrooms. As part of our environmental stewardship to help protect the Peregrine Falcons by providing a safe area for them to nest, it also allows viewers to tune in near real time and watch the season unfold.
It's been an overwhelming success. When I started, we had 0 peregrines nesting in Kentucky, and now, wow, there's more than we had historically. So it's been an overwhelming conservation success story.
With temperatures this week in Kentucky reaching the mid-90s, there's one sure way to go fishing and cool off, and that's to float a river or a creek. Spencer Parker, how you doing today?
Great, Chad. Pleasure to meet you.
I tell you what, this time of year when it's too hot to sit in a bass boat, catching fish in moving water is the place to go.
It's really blown up the past few years, absolutely, and the kayak selection is amazing now. I mean, you can go from $200 kayak up to $4,000 or $5,000 kayak. It's a blast, it really is.
So do you guys have people that will assist, strictly fishermen now? If a person comes out and says, hey, I'd like to take a float and I really want to focus on fishing, you guys have people that can help them out with that?
Absolutely. I'm one of them. I'm just an average Joe. I'm not a professional fisherman. I have a passion for fishing and I have a passion for kayaks. That I love talking to people about kayaking and fishing.
Well, you live in a good part of the state to have a passion for fishing and kayaking, because I tell you, the Elkhorn Creek, it is legendary for fishing.
You can't hardly beat a smallmouth, especially in moving water. There he is.
Got him now?
I think so.
Oh, that's not a bad fish.
No. Oh, they're so much fun.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Not a very big fish. That thing came out of the water 3 feet.
Yeah, and he was stripping drag too, wasn't he?
Boy, I'll tell you one thing. It sure didn't take that little tiny brush hog long.
There you go. Oh!
He wanted it too, because when he hit it, he took off and gave me an aerial show. Did you see that?
Awesome. There you go, baby. Thank you.
Guarantee you, he's got a belly full of crawfish. I think it was the second cast in there, and he just popped it.
Put on a show.
This looks like a really good spot. We've got moving water, and it's deep enough to hold a fish. We ought to be able to catch a fish here. Oh, here we go. A little bit smaller fish, but he wanted the jig.
They got some fight to them, don't they?
Boy, don't they? Tell you what, it's super fun catching these jokers. Whoop. He wanted back in. Don't eat my smallmouth. Get out of here. Spencer, this is a little bit unique. Anytime that you're fishing on a creek in the state of Kentucky, if you're standing on the bottom, you're on somebody's property, you're trespassing. But Franklin County have actually passed some legislation that allows you to fish this, right?
Yeah, as long as you gain access with permission or by public means, then yeah, you can wade anywhere in the water.
Here we go.
Oh yeah.
Got a jumper. Nice little 13-inch smallie.
There he is.
Targeting these areas right before you get into these riffles and right on the outside of the riffles. Man, if you're going to only fish certain spots on a 4-mile run, that's where you want to look.
That's where you want to be, yes, sir.
Nice little pretty smallmouth. Look how big and wide these tails are on these fish. For a fish that size, that's where the power comes, right there.
Very healthy, very strong.
Beautiful smallie.
Got him. I got one too. Little guy.
You know, when you get to a spot like this, what makes these spots so good is the reason those fish are sitting here. That's because they're feeding, and that's where the bait is getting pulled. There's fish out here all over, but the fish that are really wanting to eat and make it easy, they're sitting right there.
Congregating right there in that spot. They know where to go.
In these rapids again, we've only caught like 1 or 2 fish today that were not right in the current.
There he is. Felt like he was a little better, but I can't tell in this current. That might be a red eye. Nope.
Nope, smallmouth.
Oh, quick release. Always puts a smile on my face.
Every time, no matter if they're big or little. Now, if they get real big, the smiles get a little bigger.
Oh yeah.
But they're always fun.
Yeah. Had a friend of mine went to church with when I was about 12 years old, and he invited me to go out to the game farm. I remember picking up a cheap little, gosh, it wasn't even a Zebco, like one of them little Shakespeare, whatever, and going out to the game farm with him, and all it took was that first fish, and I was hooked. No pun intended.
30 years later and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
You want to stop and get out and cast that down from here, or what do you want to do?
We can. It looks like a good spot.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, there he is.
There you go.
A little bit better.
That's a good fish. Nice job, man. It's getting ready to get good. Right here. I just got hammered. Oh, just got hammered again. Got him. Here we go. About 13 inches, 12 inches. It's all about finding this moving water.
There he is.
Got him?
Little guy.
You got one up out of the current there,
Yep.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you what, Spencer, this has been a blast. You can come out here and, you know, bring small soft plastics or small spinner baits. You can even fly fish and catch them.
Oh, yeah.
We're very lucky in Kentucky to have as many creeks and streams that we've got. And if you're thinking about getting into fishing, or you're a fisherman and you're just looking for more access to more water, this is the way to do it, isn't it?
It's so much fun. Like you said, you gain access to places you can't in a big boat. And there's something about being in a kayak out here in nature.
We use the kayaks in a way to get us to the good spots, which was moving water.
There he is.
Get these jokers back in.
All right.
There they go.
Yeah.
It might seem extremely hot outside right now, but fall is right around the corner, and deer archery season opens up in just 2.5 months. Now's the time to get that bow and arrow out and start practicing.
Well, it's early in the archery season, and today is actually my second time in the stand. You know, I was sitting at home, and all of a sudden this rainstorm comes in, and it cooled the temperature down significantly. And I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get in the deer stand. My first hunt of the season, which was actually a really, really cool hunt. I got about right here on the walking in last time, and about got ran over by a small buck. Got in the stand, had a doe walk right underneath of me. Probably should have took a shot, but at that point in time, we had seen a pretty good buck in the field, and I wanted to give that deer a chance to make its way to me. I saw tons of deer, had a great hunt, and now I'm looking forward to getting back in. I had this afternoon of cloud cover and a little bit of rain. It's time to be in the deer stand. Got all set up and settled down. I've got a major soybean field right here, and the deer are really, really destroying it. I know this farmer would love for me to take a couple does out of here for him, but the last time I hunted this stand, there was a deer the whole time. When I walked in, climbed up the tree, got settled down, and I just looked out there and saw its ears moving around. That deer had been there the whole time. There could be deer really close right now. In the woods behind me, I have a heavily used trail that's alongside a creek. And on the other side of that is another soybean field. So these deer in the middle of the day, they're going to either bed or use this to move to different areas in the shade or the cooler areas of the field to feed. They can show up at any time. I really like this spot. This weather is changing fast. You know, we had a rainstorm earlier today and now it's gotten windy. It'll rain and then it'll kind of slow up. The deer are already in the field. I don't know how many there are, but there's close to 10. So I know the deer are moving as long as I see them out there, and I'm gonna try to wait this out. Now this type of condition requires a perfect shot. If I don't think I can make an absolute perfect shot, or hopefully I hear the deer go down, I probably won't shoot. I don't want a situation where it's a deer that I gotta rely on a blood trail, because with the rain coming and going, I may not get one. But I'm still very confident. I know those deer are excited to be getting this cooler weather, just like I am. You don't get these type of days in September very often where the temperature just bottom falls out. Unfortunately, it brought rain. Oh, you've got a doe 25 yards right on the edge of the beans. I've got a tree right here between me and the deer, so. Oh, there's two. These deer are already in range, but they gotta make their way to me to get around this tree. Man, if they come forward 8 or 10 yards, it's gonna give me a perfect shot. All right, that second doe's the biggest. That's the one I'm gonna try to get a shot at. All right, that deer is hit really good. She's going down. I'm gonna give it the normal 30 minutes and go check it out.
Well, last night in the tree stand, we were hunting our soybean field, and there were a couple of does that came by, and we let them come right up to us until I decided, all right, this is a shot that I know I can make. Thought I made a beautiful shot. The deer went about 10 yards, laid down in the soybeans. Thought, okay, this is great. Got down out of the tree, walked up, actually bumped this deer. I decided with the rain, there's probably not gonna be any way to blood trail this deer. So I decided that, you know what, we're gonna wait and come back. It's gonna be cool all night, temperature in the 40s. Let's get back out here and see what we can find. So we decided to walk this creek bed, and lo and behold, about 200 yards from where the shot was taken, here she is. Walked right in on the deer, laying right here in this creek. Completely cold, feels great. The shot was right where I thought, but you know what? I learned something. I thought I was gonna take a shot and hit this deer right in the heart. That was the plan. End this really quick, no blood trailing required. You know what? These deer are tougher than you think. Looked like a good shot. Next time, I'm going for 2 lungs. But I can't be more excited to have this to put in the freezer early in the bow season. Now let's check in and see who else has been out having fun in this week's Ones That Didn't Get Away. Check out Dorothy Goodall of Shelbyville, Kentucky with this nice crappie that she caught at Taylorsville Lake. Nice job. Here we have 2-year-old Denley Sturgill with a nice bluegill. Denley is from Falmouth, Kentucky, and she caught this fish while fishing in her grandpa's pond. Nice job. Here we have 2-year-old Hampton Young who caught her very first bass. She wanted to hold the bass like a baby doll and give it plenty of kisses. Congratulations. Summer is a great time to enjoy the outdoors here in the state of Kentucky, but make sure you take some precautions. Always take sunscreen and make sure you stay hydrated. And remember, hunting and fishing on private property is a privilege. Always ask permission and thank the landowner. Until next week, I'm your host, Chad Miles, and I hope to see you in the woods or on the water.